Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk here on YouTube. If you're new, welcome. And if you've been here, thank you so much for being part of our vastly, quickly growing community. I'm James Rapien. A ton to dive into as we dive into training camp previews with camp beginning next week. Let's start with the offense, then we'll do the defense later this week, and then the all-important third phase special teams. And when it comes to the Bengals offense, it starts with number 9. That's the concern, right? How is he health-wise? Will he be fully cleared? We haven't heard that yet as I record this, and I certainly hope so. I'm optimistic that Joe Burrow won't be limited at all during camp. Now, will he play in the preseason? I don't know. I don't necessarily think he needs to. He didn't last year, and it's really going to be a matter of mentally, how confident is he in his knee, because obviously there's no reason to risk re-injury, but the thing I want to see from Burrow in camp, and this will be during scrimmages, hopefully he takes part again in 11 on 11, 7 on 7. Can he get that deep ball going with these offensive weapons of his? I want to see deep balls to T. Higgins. I want to see deep balls to Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd over the middle, of course, because that's kind of the key to this year. If the Bengals are going to be really, really, really good and exceed expectations that most national pundits have, which I think is in the 5 to 7 win range, if I had to average it out, that's what I think most national outlets would say. I would say to exceed that, they need to get the deep ball going, and this offense needs to reach its full potential, which means Joe Burrow needs to reach another level than he was last year. And he played really well for 10 games as a rookie, overcame a lot, I think outperformed some really high expectations early on, but the deep ball never got going. So that's the first thing I want to see outside of Joe Burrow's health. And then the other thing we'll keep an eye on, and this is something regardless, we'll get to see during the preseason, during the 3 preseason matchups, the offensive line. Did the Bengals do enough? Will Trey Hopkins be able to start at center even though he suffered a torn ACL in Week 17 against the Ravens? Will it be Billy Price? Will the Bengals listen to me in my last video and actually go out and sign someone that can compete at guard in center? You know, I don't know. And so that's the part of it that I look at the center spot. The guards, they had the worst guard play in the league last year. I think Quentin Spain probably pencil him in at left guard, but Xavier Su'a-Filo could certainly threaten for that job. And really it's going to come down to health for him. Can he stay healthy after a bunch of injuries over the past few years, including last year where he got injured week 1 and we didn't see him until late in the season? At right guard, can Jackson Carman pick it up right now? Because that's what the Bengals are banking on. Jackson Carman, right guard, starting now. And I think he can, based on what I've heard, based on a conversation I had with Paul Alexander. And heck, if you go back a bit, at least Jesse talked with Paul Alexander here for Cincinnati Bengals Talk, and it was the same thing. So I think that this offensive line, can they have some continuity at those spots? Because those are the key areas. Like Riley Reiff, he's an upgrade from Bobby Hart, but Bobby Hart didn't kill the Bengals last year. Jonah Williams, I get it. There's some question marks about his health, but he was good when he played last season during the 10 games he was out there. I thought he was very serviceable, and there's a really good chance he ends up being an above average left tackle if he can stay healthy. But the interior of the offensive line has a lot of question marks, whether it's youth, whether it's health, and that's something I will be monitoring early on during camp, and hopefully we get answers sooner rather than later. As far as the rest of the team goes, look, I like the skill players. I don't know, I mean, what's their weak link? Tight end? CJ Uzomah is a hell of a tight end when he's healthy. Had a good rapport with Joe Burrow in camp last year. Certainly hit the ground running with Burrow in the first 2 games before getting injured and suffering that torn Achilles. He not only did he catch Burrow's first touchdown pass, but he also had, I believe it was 7 receptions week 1 against the Chargers. And I may be off by 1. Maybe it was 6, maybe it was 8. But he was a big part of that final drive where I was really sold on Burrow when he just marched downfield after that ugly pitch interception to Melvin Ingram. He responded and put the Bengals in position to win, actually threw the game-winning touchdown, as you recall, but A.J. Green was called for a penalty. So I think the tight end room, could they use an upgrade? Sure, but I like Uzomah and Sample. I certainly love the wide receivers because you have a 3-headed monster. Like, to me, and I was talking to a fan earlier this week about this, I think it could really vary week to week. Jamar Chase could lead you in receiving and receptions one week. Heck, maybe have 3 touchdowns in a game. Then T. Higgins could go off for a $150, 10 catches and 2 touchdowns. And Tyler Boyd's going to have his monster receptions game in multiple, I would say, this year. I expect him to lead the team in receptions, but it is going to be fun in camp specifically to see how they use Jamar Chase. Because you're talking about a guy who has legs as big as my waist. I mean, this dude has huge legs. Maybe not waist, but certainly his calves are bigger than my thighs. And so you're talking about a guy who looks like a running back. I mean, I'm looking at some of these different videos and things, and I posted some of them to allbengals.com, and he really does look like a running back. And you could look back at our OTA highlights here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And so do they motion him into the backfield? Do they put him in the slot some? Do they obviously split him out wide? I would assume so. I assume they're going to use him all over the field. And that's fun because the next step for this offense and part of this whole process is Zach Taylor the guy? Well, if he can't get this offense right, he's not the guy because he was brought in for his offensive prowess, for his offensive mind. And so we will see if he can do that. But I'm really excited to see how they use Chase. I think we know what they're going to do with Boyd for the most part. We know a lot of how Higgins is going to be used. But Chase, you can split him all over and move him all around. He's a nice, versatile chess piece. And then how is Mixon involved here? How are they going to use him? Is he not only in on third downs, but is he a threat catching the ball on third downs? I want to see Joe Mixon have 60 receptions and 1,500 yards from scrimmage this year, or 1,600 yards from scrimmage this year, and really become a dominant force running the ball, especially early in the season with Burrow, because if there are any mental hurdles, and there are going to be, that he has to get over, and whether it's preseason or regular season, he's going to have to hand the ball off here and there. And maybe it's just quick passes initially. Not that they're not going to push the ball down the field, but having that outlet in number 28, a guy who, much like Chase, when he was a rookie and I saw him for the first time, I was like, ooh, that guy's built different. Chase, I haven't seen up close like I saw Mixon as a rookie shortly after he was drafted, just due to COVID protocols and stuff. I haven't been able to get that close to him, just seen him at practice, maybe 50, 100 yards away from him. But he looks different. Mixon has that same quality. And I don't see anyone saying that the Bengals shouldn't put Chase in a position to succeed, right? Well, hopefully they can do the same with Joe Mixon. And that's kind of where I'm at with this offense. The big question marks, Burrow's health, the offensive line, and then Zach Taylor. Outside of that, if Burrow's healthy, the offensive line is competent, not good, competent, right? Me in math class in high school, C average, if they're C, if they get a C, this Bengals offense is going to be damn good because, again, even if Chase takes a little bit, he's a little rusty, right, because he opted out last year, they have weapons, and he's going to be a threat that they're going to have to account for. He's tough to tackle. You add him in with these other guys. It's going to be a good offense. And the only question mark outside of Burrow, so if he's healthy, is the offensive line and Zach Taylor. Well, you're not getting a new head coach. That's why in my last video, again, I kind of pushed offensive line. Adding another established offensive lineman between now and camp, between now and the start of the regular season, I would do it because you can't have enough depth in the trenches. I think we saw that last year with this team. It really derailed what could have been a really promising year for this Bengals team. I think the weapons were close to ready, right? Some of these guys were ready to go and ready to have a big role. Burrow was ready to win, and the offensive line wasn't. And that really hurt what Taylor was trying to do in his defense, what Burrow was trying to do. And so now hopefully they're not as limited from a playbook standpoint like they were last season. If you're new to the channel, like I said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you've been here, you know the type of content coming your way. Please, please, please tell all of your Bengals fans and friends that you know that are Bengals fans about us. And make sure you check out allbengals.com. I'll have daily posts and updates and so much more throughout training camp and all season long. And it won't just be me. It'll be our team of writers plus Locked On Bengals, the only daily Bengals podcast. We're back 5 days a week. So make sure you check that out as well. So I got you covered. James Rapien has got you covered with all things Bengals. And certainly hit that subscribe button. Thank you always. Thank you so much, like I said, for watching the defensive breakdown and a defensive preview, what I'm looking for. That coming up later this week on Cincinnati Bengals Talk.